Adam and Nakul. I am so very honored. Adam, you might remember I actually sent you an exclusive note last week saying thank you for introducing me to Nakul. He's one of the
Yeah.
nicest guys I've met, and he obviously accepted my invite to come on the podcast, the exclusive Nakul podcast, a couple of weeks ago, and then it went for nearly almost 1 hour 45 minutes or something like that, and we still ended up talking after that. And then he spoke the day after that as well. But he's one of the nicest guys I've met. Honestly, man. Nakul, thank you, man. Thanks for the friendship.
Yeah, I mean, thank you so much, Adam sir, for bringing me onto this one. I never knew the existence of I Love ARR at all, and I didn't know about Chandar as well. And I came to know about him only once you spoke about him to me, and I'm really glad that this connection has happened.
Thanks for it. Because I remember during one of my conversations with Adam, that's when he said, "Hey, you know what? You should bring Nakul on your podcast. He's a great."
That was actually just after you'd done your last release, Nakul, actually. So your stuff was coming up, and I was like, no, Nakul makes sense. So.
Thank you.
Awesome. Great. And look, I was very excited. The fact that Nakul accepted the invite to come on to this podcast at a very short notice. And the thing is, I mean, I knew because it will bring back all the KM memories for him as part of this conversation. I thought it will be magical. So why not? So, well, Adam, I'll start with you maybe. And I know you've been in India for about 8-9 years, I take it?
10.
10 years. Oh my God, a decade.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
And second time, so.
Oh yeah? Oh wow, okay. And may I ask, when did you actually start with the KM journey?
That was, oh my goodness, back in another age. 2000. Actually, I first started back in 2010. And it was a very long, extended journey to get here because I just finished my PhD and I was looking for jobs, and there were not many or any coming up in the UK that were suitable. I'd found a piano teaching job up in the north of Scotland in Aberdeen, and I also saw this other advert for a teaching post in Chennai. And I'd been to India back in 2001 when I was 17. I actually lived for a year in Dehradun. I spent a year traveling India and teaching English and science, and I had gone straight from that into uni. So I was like, oh, India, it would be good to go back again. So there's nothing here. So I applied for it and heard nothing back for about 7 or 8 months. And I actually went through the Aberdeen interviews, and I'd been given the job up there, was preparing it, and got an email saying, oh, we'd like to call you for an interview for the job in India. And went through that and found myself suddenly on this mad and crazy, okay, I'm leaving the UK. Back then I was thinking it would probably be 1 year. Come here for a year and then wait for the job market to open up. And right from the start, it was clear that it wasn't going to be a normal journey or experience, because obviously with all the visa documents, it's got where you're working and who you're working for and everything. So every part of that process, I was being constantly surrounded by people going, oh, you're so lucky to go and work there. You're so lucky to go and work for AR. And I was like, who is this? But because I didn't know him, I had no idea. I mean, for me, at that point, AR was the Indian guy who sang with the Pussycat Dolls in Jai Ho. And it's that order of things.
Indian guy.
Yeah. He was the Indian guy who like walks through the middle, because it was big song. I mean, it was huge over there. But you thought of it as the Pussycat Dolls song.
Yeah.
Featuring him. And suddenly, like, the visa officer and the people who were doing the medical certificates and everybody else, they were all like, oh, you're so lucky it's such an. I was just like, what's going on with this? So yeah, eventually by about June 2011, everything and landed up in Chennai.
Wow.
And that was the start.
Then he started over there. My goodness, amazing! What a great story. Of course, I want to deep dive into it, but I want to switch over to Nakul. Hey, buddy, I know you have had a KM journey. I know we did speak in the exclusive podcast as well. But what memories does it bring back? The fact that your professor is in front of you in this podcast.
Well, I think it's been amazing 3 years, which have given me life as a musician here. That's for sure. And I owe a lot to KM and Adam, so for sure. And like Adam was always there, with us for anything and any doubts or whatever it is, maybe educational or career based or whatever it was. We would just go to him and talk to him and feel better and get out of the staff room. It was always like that. And no, he was a great support, and he never discouraged anyone to learn anything. As in, like I didn't know anything. For example, from my perspective, I didn't know anything about Western classical music. Nothing. And I had learned the Indian classical side, and I was new to everything, and suddenly to come into an environment which deals with majority time is spent only with Western classical music. I think if the things weren't handled well at the institute, I think it would have been difficult for students like us. But it wasn't. I think Adam and other professors, I think they really tried to make us feel comfortable by teaching Western classical music from an Indian perspective as well. I think that's definitely true. I think for sure, even Adam might agree with me. He'll definitely not teach Western classical music or piano to a UK kid the way he teaches in Chennai. I'm 100% sure.
I'm not entirely certain about that. It's probably
no, but I think there's.
But there are definitely changes that we make. I mean, on one thing, just because you're approaching it at a degree level without having had necessarily the same background and upbringing that we've had. So it's it's trying to music so much.
Yeah, the music is completely alien. I think when a kid in UK or US, wherever, if he or she wants to study music as a degree course, at least they'll be sure about knowing, reading staff notation and stuff like that. They won't be struggling at least with that.
Yeah.
They would know how to read. Start right from, okay, these are called ledger lines, and you have something called as crotchets and minims and semi-breathe. It's like right from kindergarten to analyzing Schoenberg in third year. That's like a huge journey, I think.
But it's quite. I mean, essentially, that educational model breaks and defies the majority of. It shouldn't be possible, and it's a huge testament to the capability of the students to be able to actually consume what we give them. And they can't pick up everything. I mean, it's impossible in such a short time. But essentially, what we're doing shouldn't work. And it does. Wonderful. Because it's such a steep and fast learning curve, and it's very intensive what we put you guys through when you start. I mean, my memory of Nakul more than anything else, in terms of he's saying that we don't generally discourage him. I did discourage him on more than one occasion from actually studying, because he would work himself to exhaustion.
Wow.
And you'd see them coming in the morning, and you could tell that they've been up. I'm up late. I will work till 3-4 a.m. But you could tell that they'd been up later than you, and they were still dragging themselves in the morning to sit in class. It's just like, you've not slept in like 12-15 hours, have you? It's just like, no.
Yeah, we would always come with like red eyes and tired face, and it's like, oh, sorry, we are so sorry, we are late to the class. and I'm like, it's okay, come sit.
Were you always a night owl, or you turned into a night owl after getting into KM? I'm just curious.
Who, me?
Yeah.
It's not a night owl. It's 24/7.
Yeah, it's 24/7. I think I think engineering college made me do all that because like we did a lot of activities in the night, and of course gaming or studies or music jamming, all that used to happen in the night for us. And in the morning we had to go back to college and attend the classes. So that kind of put me in the drill. But I'm very glad that it happened, because when I came to KM, I think I had to do my work as well as studies, and both were like quite a bit during that time for me. And to manage both, I just couldn't manage that in like 12 hours. I needed more hours.
Wow.
Like 8 to 10 hours at least for KM, and next at least 6 to 7 more hours, at least sometimes 8 or 9 hours for my work. So we would end up sleeping like for 4 hours, 5 hours in a day, or sometimes just like fall asleep in the class for like 15 minutes. or I'd have to find us sleeping in the lobby on the beanbags.
That's still common. But the question is, Nakul, did it change after you finished when you started working professionally, or did it still continue to be exactly the same?
No, I think it continued to be exactly the same.
And it's like we're trying to get that real life industry experience, and particularly for a new start within the industry, the hours are crazy long. So it's like we're trying to actually build up the student stamina to be able to deal with that.
Wow.
Because like so many of the studios do run at night. So many programmers and engineers will run through the night when they're working. It's better to get used to it in a training environment than.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was crazy. I remember every KM day we had, we would start rehearsing like way before the actual KM day would happen, and KM day would actually happen for like 3 days. Like we would have opera concerts and stuff, and finally one KM day would happen, and there would be performances, annual performance. There would be opera from one teacher's school, another teacher's school, and there were so many things happening, and those rehearsals, believe me, they were not easy. It was like rehearsal in the morning, break, rehearsal in the afternoon, break, rehearsal in the evening. Would be a planned situation, but it would never go that way. And I mean, they were quite long. And I think I was put into this drill right from my year one when we got an opportunity to go to Scotland and perform with Sir and BBC Orchestra. And I remember Adam was there conducting our choir section. And I remember those number of hours, after we wouldn't miss our classes. We would attend all our classes, but we would end up rehearsing after the class hours. So that was like, college ends at like 5:36, but then 6 to 8 or 6 to 8:30, we would rehearse for that gig and then go back and work till like 3-4 a.m. and then come back again at 9, then again same drill. So we were put into it right from the beginning.
Wow, amazing. I mean, I'm just curious though, because obviously you're in the creative space, and then spending long hours. How does that enable you to be creative even without getting enough rest? Because I don't know, I could never function.
No, I think Adam put it the right way. They help us build our stamina. They help us be more efficient, even if there's lack of sleep, and they put us tough. It's not that they put us purposely through tough conditions, but the syllabus is such, and the working environment. Okay, at least I believed it wasn't. But see, the thing is, it never changed even after KM got over, which means that yes, even in the real world, even if I'm not studying, even if I'm working I'm working only, like no studies, and that still consumes a lot of time of my day. I hardly get to sleep like for 6 hours a day or 5 hours a day sometimes. And and all that drill for 3 years that we undergo, I think we have to perform. We have to perform in the toughest conditions, when the situation is not favorable. It doesn't matter, you have slept or not, it doesn't matter. You might catch a cold randomly, but you have to perform on stage. There's no other goal. Because at the end of the day, it's you as a performer on the stage, and you're a student there, and you're there to learn. And it's not like engineering or medical, where you have just taken that course because parents said so, or maybe because of your peer pressure. You're there in KM because you want to learn music and you want to be a musician, and that drive makes you do everything then without any complaints.
the classes are kind of actually an extra. It's like we have a very well thought out and very structured and deep curriculum, but that in many ways is the extra, and it's everything else which is the important stuff, and the environment. I mean, in terms of finding that creative space, what I hope anyway is that people tend to be creative at different points of the day. Some people are night owls and will have their creative moments around 1 a.m., 2 a.m. Some people are morning people, but that doesn't mean that you need to be on downtime for the rest of the day. And it's like learning that it's not just all in the performance, but so much in the preparation for it and so much in everything else. And you do those at the other points of the day. So when you hit your creative space, you are free just to be creative in it.
Amazing.
You have to, I mean, you at the end of the day, you're a performer and you have to perform out of your comfort zone. You get out of it, you're always out of your comfort zone, and yet you're expected to do 100%. And I think that's a great lesson to learn.
What was your most out of comfort zone point, Nakul, in terms of performance?
Good question.
No, I think in terms of performance, out of comfort zone was definitely my dip to recital for me. I mean, I know that.
Really?
Yeah. It was. I mean, I know that we had 1 whole year to, practice and learn the pieces and all that. But again, when it comes to like an operatic performance, as I told you, it wasn't my native genre to perform. And even though I was confident with my piece, everything was said, I had rehearsed, everything was there, but still there was some kind of, one feel inside me which said, okay, there's something not right. And
called exhaustion. Exhaustion.
Yeah, it was exhaustion as well because of so many factors which will be boring if I talk about them now. But except for that, I think everything was exciting. Scotland was all the performances were exciting. Nuffs was really exciting again.
Oh yeah,
that wasn't out of your comfort zone.
No, not really. I didn't feel like. Initially I did, but not after that.
That was another high intensity, high impact regime in terms of practices, and the performances were physical.
Yeah, Nuffs was quite, and it wasn't a solo performance. You had to be a team member for that, and a really strong team member, and you have to understand that you are not a soloist there.
Yeah.
You have a different role to play in each line, literally, or maybe sometimes in each word. Suddenly you're the melody, suddenly you're a backing voice, and you have to push and pull. And but yeah, for me, dip to recital was quite messy. It was quite messy in my mind, but it happened.
The fact that Sir was, or is he still the principal of KM, did that keep you on your toes, Nakul?
Not really.
Okay.
I don't think I walked into KM with an expectation of Sir, getting a chance under Rahman Sir to work. I didn't walk into KM for that purpose, for sure. I don't know how far it is true with others, but it wasn't that from my end.
Yeah.
Of course, there was an excitement, and we would all be very excited if Sir walked in. But that's because we are all AR fans right from our childhood days, and he's like he's an iconic figure at the end of the day, and there's a different excitement whenever he walks in. But I don't think there was any expectation when I walked in.
Yeah. But what was it like when you saw him for the first time walking in the KM premises?
I don't know. I think we just went speechless. I was with my friend Chetan standing, and I think it was KM New Building Inaug. That's when I saw him for the first time, and we had to perform a piece, and I think we had to perform Lion King.
Okay.
I think Nami had taught us the Lion King piece, and we had to perform, and he just walked in with Mukesh Ambani.
Yeah, that was the walk right with Mukesh Ambani.
Yeah. That was the first time I saw him, and suddenly I see him with Mukesh Ambani. They just walk in and they stand, and Sir is introducing, and we are like asked to sing straight.
And go. Which happens a lot in KM actually. It's just like, and play now.
Wow.
It happens a lot.
Right.
So there was one day when I was learning a piece, a Marathi Natya Sangeet, and suddenly Shruti ma'am is like, okay, learn this piece properly. In 5 minutes, you're performing. And like, all of a sudden, random. I was probably chilling on the beanbag. They're like, ma'am, what's the occasion? He's like, no, sir is coming. He wants to listen to it. So it's like so random, and I was petrified at that moment.
Yeah.
It was quite a...
Roughly how much notice we get when he's coming. So the chain of events there will have been that somebody will have called me going, he's on way, he's wanting a walk round, we need people to perform. I'll have sent out a WhatsApp to all of the staff going, get a student, grab any student to get ready.
Wow. So you don't get enough notice at all, Adam, is it?
For not always, no. I mean, you were saying, does he keep them on their toes? He keeps us on our toes more. So yeah, it's quite spontaneous. And again, it also kind of just so that there's not some mass fuss, because he likes to come in and actually see the institute working. So I think he's figured out if he doesn't tell us, they'll not do any like extra prep or anything coming, so he gets a much more real experience of what's happening. Because he will just wander in and wander into one of the classrooms and just be like, what are you working on? What's this? Show me what this does.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's done it in music production labs quite a few times, audio engineering. And obviously that's always the point where he either chooses a student who's really struggling or the system isn't working. And then he's just like, why is it not working? Why is this not happening?
It's always that. It's always like that.
This student, look at this student's work.
Right. So, Adam, I mean, of course, the fact that Nakul has been your student, what are maybe the 3 most amazing things or the qualities that you have seen in Nakul?
Well, definitely, as I was saying before, the other side of the exhaustion is just that determination in terms of work. And again, it's something that we try to instill in the students from the beginning, that you can be as creative and you can be as talented as you want, but if you do not work hard, the industry will swallow you. And it's like, you need to work, even if you're fantastic. And again, all of the staff, we're all professionals, and we all still have to practice, and we all still have to keep up our own. You never reach that stage where it's fine to just be like, okay, I'm just going to relax now. So Nakul has always had that drive to actually just keep doing and doing more and more and more work. I've always, and he was saying about his Dip 2 recital and everything else, but I've always loved it. He's one of the few students that I think can very successfully flip from Western to Indian styles.
Wow.
Which is, it's a rare quality to have. We teach both. The students have to learn both, but not all of them are necessarily equally capable with both styles. So he's definitely somebody who's capable of flicking back and forth between Eastern and Western. And just general positivity, as you said, he's hyper excited all the time, even when he's walking around overly asleep from 24 hours up. He's never angry with it. You get no attitude. So it's not like, I've been up working on your assignment, I don't want to do anything. No, it's not that. It's constant positivity. So it's like those 3 qualities in terms of determination, versatility, adaptability, and attitude. It's perfect musician.
Amazing.
I was talking to Sir about you last week, actually. So he's very, very happy with your work. He was telling me that you're definitely one that he's... There's a big pat on the back for you.
Well done. Of course, he deserves it. And it's... If of course, he's the man in the moment right now with his amazing song, which is going crazy with the views and likes and whatnot. And it's just not about that. The fact that he's working with Sir on a number of projects, which itself, it says what he has worked. I mean, he's worked so hard to get here. It's not a walk in the park at all. It never will be for anything. So, Nakul, great work, man.
So much. Thank you so much. I mean, again, as I said, I have to give all my credits to KM and whatever I learned there. I don't think I would be what I'm today without KM for sure. I mean, many people asked me, and even like I was in Bangalore before I came to KM, and when I would talk to people saying, "Hey, I think I'm ready to quit my job and take up KM and learn music there," there were so many people from the industry, film industry as well, who really discouraged me to join KM, saying, I don't know about the standards there. You will be wasting your time. Instead, just keep working in the industry and you will learn and this and that. But I was very analytical that way, and I was like, I knew that working in a garage and becoming a mechanical engineer is way different from going to an institute and actually going through 4-year degree course and then calling yourself a mechanical engineer. There's a huge difference. The education system exists for a reason. You know, if everything was done on the desk at work, then I don't think these colleges would survive. And if something like that exists, I think we put faith in them and go and study. And I decided to join KM, and I think that was the best decision of my life.
Amazing. Wow.
Yeah, for sure. And again, Adam really helped me, and I think I learned music from wonderful teachers who really gave me a really high standard of education. It was like right from day one, there was something for me to explore. Right from day one, I had experience. I was working on Logic Pro X before I came to KM. I knew a bit of music theory. It wasn't like I was a complete beginner. I knew few things here and there, and sometimes I knew things a little better than my classmates, but I never saw. No, but that's the truth, because even now when people join KM, there are kids who join just like that, and there are kids who have a little bit of experience and then they come in. But the way KM strikes a balance between satisfying both sides, I think that's wonderful. And every day, even if I knew things, there was something new to learn. Amazing library, there were beautiful books there to study, and profs are always there to answer our questions. Just 24/7. Yeah, 24/7. I mean, on Facebook, we would connect on Facebook and discuss assignments. We would call them, and
if they couldn't get hold of you on Facebook, or if they can't get hold of you on Facebook, they turn up at your doorstep asking questions.
Yeah.
It's happened on more than one case where it's just like you're wanting to just have a relaxing night, so you turn the phone off and you're not checking anything, and the next thing their students are on the doorstep. Sir, can you?
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
But I think I always felt comfortable when Adam would accompany me on the piano. That's one thing. Yeah, I would feel very comfortable performing if it was Adam accompanying me on the piano. I think he knows he's a brilliant pianist. He knows when he's a soloist, and he knows when he's with a singer, and he just made me feel so comfortable. I think Adam played for my Dipto recital as well, and
I'm gonna find video of that. I'm gonna have to send Chandra like a nice video clip of your Dip 2 recital after all of this.
I need to take it from you. I don't have one. Can I get it from you?
If I can find it in the archive discs, I'll have a look.
So I think half of my performance was done by Adam. For sure, I was just there. Feeling very comfortable and relaxed, because it was quite an intense recital for me.
Great. Nakul, I'm building this I Love ARR community, right? And there are a number of guys in the community who are very, very keen to take up music professionally, and they are very keen on joining KM. And I was just wondering, what's that one piece of advice you would like to give it to them?
Well, I think if they think that they have it in them, please, by all means, go and join KM and start learning music. Don't beat around the bush and keep telling that, I think I need to learn, just do it if you feel like, and if you can jump into it, please do.
Amazing. Great, man. And I do like your analogy that you said you can't become a mechanical engineer by just fiddling with stuff in your garage.
And that's not how it is done. This was my experience, because it's a known fact. If you work with one person, like in the industry, generally what happens is, if you come out and you announce yourself as a producer or even as a singer, you end up working with one particular music director a lot.
True.
And due to which, what happens, your thoughts will become like that music director, or you'll stop expanding your horizon, and you'll be just, your music vocabulary will be stuck to that studio.
Awesome.
And that's what happens most of the times, because your working hours are so much that when you're free, you just want to rest. You don't want to listen to anything. You don't want to explore. You just want silence after all that music in your ears in the studio. And I think if you're there, that's it. That's your world.
Yeah.
So when are you going to get out of it and start exploring?
Right.
And KM is the exact opposite of you working in a studio under someone. It's like one day is this, another day is that. It's like, okay, forget about day. It's like 2 to 3 Hindustani class, 3 to 4 opera, 4 to 5 orchestration, 5 to 6. It's like Mozart. It's like,
wow.
Yeah. And now you have to go and rehearse because you have a concert in an hour. So come on, let's
go. Let's go rehearsal. And you have to go and take the printout, and sometimes the photocopier won't work, and then you have to run around and get that, and it's like there's a lot of stress, and more than that, I would say that you have to switch gears constantly within a given day, and that's what Adam said. It makes us very versatile. The course itself is such that it makes us very versatile. And then again, if you are interested in Qawwali, then you have Qawwali rehearsals every day or every Saturday.
Wow.
And it's like there's so many things, and it's madness. I would say it's crazy. It's
organized chaos.
Organized chaos it is.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a nice term, actually. I love it. Look, with regards to Adam, again, I haven't had the privilege of learning from him, but I have had the privilege of working with him on a project, and I have to tell you, Nakul, that this has been one of the most amazing projects for me, and I've provided this feedback to Adam as well on or through the journey that we have been working on. But it's been one of the most amazing projects. I have to tell you this, because if I did have the option of getting Adam to work on any of my own projects later, I would do that. But sir will not let me go.
No, but I don't know what this project is about, but I've heard it so much that I'm really excited to know what it is about, and I'll wait for it if you don't want to tell me.
Yeah.
But again, see, that's what I mean. Working with Adam is like a cakewalk. He makes everything so easy, and he makes you very comfortable, in the working environment. And he's a great person to work with for sure, I would say.
100%.
And
I at the start of the project, I was a bit dreading. I was like, okay, music, I'm a fan. I'm a massive fan. I can tell you each and every sound from every Sir's song. But this is a different league altogether for me. And I was a bit dreading at the start, and then because I know I have to work no matter what to pull it off, but I couldn't have done it without Adam's help. I have to tell you this, because he's gone above and beyond. And during the journey of the project is when I realized that he's a techie as well.
Oh God. I mean, I think Adam is a perfect example. You can. He doesn't want to disclose that. No, you give him chaos and he will put an order to it. He knows how to do it. And any new thing, he's super organized, and even if it's chaotic, for him it'll be super organized, and he'll make sure that it's extremely easy to accommodate anything into the project that he's in. And that's the best part, I think. That's what I was telling you. Even when he's an accompanist for a singer, he knows how to be with a singer, and he knows. That's what we felt when he's a teacher. He's a teacher. He makes sure that we understand. It's not like he's just walking into the class. Today I'm going to teach you and Alice. No, it's like you better learn this now. It's important. So he would come with a conducting stick to the class, conductor's stick, and he would be like, "You answer now."
You're lucky I was only conducting. I used to throw it at people a long time.
Oh yeah? I would have been one of those deserving ones then. So, Nakul, I do realize that you have to go. I really wanted to thank you for the fact that you pulled out time to make this happen. So thank you so much, man, for making it happen at a very short notice.
I would love to stay throughout, but unfortunately I have to rush now. So
and I'm going to look out that nice Dip 2 recital for you to make sure that gets published to the world.
Oh no! Oh God, no! I think it's better if it stays in that drive and I get a copy of it. So thank you so much. Thank you, Chandar, once again. And Adam sir, it's always amazing to have a word with you and have a great conversation with you. Next time we should meet outside KM with the tea at the tea shop.
Oh yeah. You guys don't go to that what do you call the coffee shop outside? Zuka? Is it?
Zuka,
is it what
yeah.
it's called?
No, Zuka, yes, but
it is better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does Sir go outside or in Zuka? Or you have never seen him?
He loves Zuka. He goes into Zuka a lot. He brought Zuka up from Pondicherry for us. So
nice, cool. Nakul, thank you so much, man.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Adam sir.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Cool. All right, Adam. It's been amazing having you and Nakul together. I mean, I really wanted to bring the professor and the student memories back. And I mean, how many times in a day will you actually think about those memories? Probably not even once, because the fact that the professional world is keeping him busy with a number of things, and your curriculum and everything that's happening in KM is keeping you busy. The fact that you pulled out time to make this happen itself makes me feel extremely honored. So thank you so much for that. Now, of course, I really want to touch on a number of things which I'm very, very excited about. I don't want to beat around the bush. What is it like to have Sir as your boss?
Actually, so from all of this last conversation, I thought I worked a lot. I have very long working days. When I was studying my PhD and everything, I was pulling 18, 19-hour days at points.
Wow.
Continuously. And I thought, yeah, okay, it's crazy. I'll do it for X number of years and settle down. And I didn't start working directly with Sir until quite a few years into being here. But when I started seeing his work process, I was like, okay, he makes me look lazy. And it was just this how I didn't think it was possible to fit in as much as I do normally, never mind more than that. So it was this really, really inspiring moment of, okay, there's still more to learn to be able to it's efficiency on functioning, and seeing it's all multitasking, how to multitask so many projects. And I don't think anybody really knows, probably not even him himself, how many projects he's currently active on at any point in time.
Wow.
And it's like suddenly you're drawn into one project or another project, and then you're working on that, and this must be taking up so much of his time, and then you find out he's got another 4 or 5 on the side and seeing just that level of dedication and commitment and hard work constantly, it's very inspiring. So that side, definitely. As a boss, he doesn't feel or act like a boss. He doesn't if you do stuff wrong, you know that he's not happy with it. He won't beat around the bush in terms of saying no, it needs to be done better. It's always a fun one. Nakul was talking about KM days, and it's always the highlight of the year for the students at the end of their year, where they've been working and they all get to showcase it, and Sir will come along and actually watch everything. And in many ways, it's him checking up on how the teaching team are doing that year to see how whether the performances are working or not. So he's always so loving with them in terms of how well they've done, kind words to all of them. And then as soon as they're gone, he's like, why was this like this? Why is this not? And he'll sit and troubleshoot, tell you everything that needs. Again, and it's not out of anger. It's literally, this is what you need to improve.
Yeah.
It's this always trying to improve everything around you and keep building. So it's inspiring and exhausting.
Right. Wow, it's amazing. And it's definitely very inspiring, no doubt about it. And look, as part of your journey in KM and working with Sir, I do know that you have traveled with him quite a bit. Any memories of traveling with Sir? And what is it like sitting next to him in a plane? What do you guys discuss about? Or does he usually just go off to sleep? Or I'm just curious.
The first time that I was traveling with him was actually the Glasgow trip that Nakul was talking about.
Yeah.
But we did travel together at that point. He was separate and I took 30 students to Glasgow with us.
Right.
But while we were there, I was basically with him while we were touring the Royal Conservatoire, and it was like traveling with an overexcited child almost, because he was so excited to see this massive the Royal Conservatoire in Scotland is one of the leading conservatoires worldwide. Yeah. So he got an honorary doctorate from them while we were there. We were working with the students. Yeah. And he sees in institutions like that where he wants KM to be in the future. So getting to poke around the building and getting a tour, and he was running around the building, and it's an old building and a new building all connected together in the middle of Glasgow. So it's a maze. It's an absolute you don't know where you're going. And he would run away, and he'd be off down one corridor round and you'd lose him. And it's like which it was a lot of fun, but given that you're the only person with him at that point in time, and it's like, okay, I've lost AR. Try and hunt him down. But in terms of my most recent trip with him was up to Nagaland at the end of last year, where we did actually travel together. Yeah. And it's short flights. I learned a lot about how difficult it must be for him traveling.
Right.
Chennai's fine. Chennai know him. The airport knows him, and everything else. The first major sign was when we landed. We were changing in Kolkata.
Okay.
And they didn't know he was arriving. So there was nothing prepared for him. And you're suddenly just walking off the plane with AR into Kolkata airport, and you're just like in the airport. And it's suddenly chaos because people notice him. We don't know where we're going. I've never been to the airport before. Right. There's no staff to help, and people just start charging over. Yeah. He's used to it, obviously, and he just takes off. So you're then running after him. He doesn't know where he's going to get to the next. You have to go through security, and he'll find a corner and sit down and just kind of be inconspicuous, and which is fine, but it's exhausting. Yeah. And but that trip, it was again wonderful just to see the range of activities, and being between traveling and going around Nagaland, meeting all of the projects we were doing, mornings in the hotel, evenings in the hotel, and things. And again, it's just always thinking how he can help whatever is around him at that point in time. Yeah. I think in the period of, we were only there for 2 days.
Yeah.
And I think we started about 12 separate projects in 2 days.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. And it's running around because I want to work on this with these people, let's think about doing this, and you're trying to keep up in terms of, okay, remember to follow up on that, remember and connect with this, and I really want to speak to people about the heritage here. Can we find somebody to come and have a chat about it? It's just constantly active. It does not miss a second.
Wow. I don't know how he does it.
No, I came back from that 2-day trip and I felt like I'd been working like 24/7 for 2 weeks.
Wow. Right. And of course, slightly moving away from that question, you've been in India for 10 years, a decade now, and Chennai, is that in Chennai for 10 years almost?
Yeah.
Right. And how has life been living in Chennai? I mean, I'm curious to hear. Of course, I have heard from some of our common friends that you're more like a celebrity when you walk on the streets. People come for selfies, and you actually travel in an auto, and you have also picked up Tamil.
Konjam Tamil pesa.
You actually said it right. So, tell me about it.
Nama Chennai. No, Chennai's home. I've often been asked why I've stayed in Chennai for so long, why I haven't gone to Mumbai, wouldn't I like to move to Bangalore or leave. The first one is always actually from the students, just like, why are you still in India? Because they all want to leave and go to the UK or go to America or go instead. And I'm just like, I have no desire to go to any of those places. I want to be here.
Wow.
It's become entirely home. It's exciting and chaotic and difficult, and you learn different values of life. What I had when I was in the UK, and it's changing. I mean, Chennai. When I first came to Chennai 2001, it was one of the stops I made and seeing the difference from 2001 to 2011 was huge. But even since 2011 till now, again, it's growing as a city, and it doesn't have the chaos of Mumbai. You can find quiet spaces. It's a little bit more laid back. But it's got such deep arts and culture and heritage, and that just infuses everything that's happening. So it's welcomed me well. So I really enjoy my life here as much as I can.
Awesome.
The film was chaos. I mean, that's the thing, it throws random things at you. I ended up in a film. How does that work? Like, I've never acted properly. I have absolutely no credentials.
How did it come up? I'm curious.
I did a music video for Sarah's older sister Rihanna, which was for a charity project that she's the ambassador of called Raindrops, and they were doing a music video for the celebration of the founding of Chennai, and it was fun. I was basically a tourist in that video, and I got driven around in an auto and all the sights of Chennai. That was about it. Got dressed up in Veshti and had to do a couple of nice dance steps and things, but that was about it. And about 4 or 5 months after that, the producer and director and writer from the film turned up at KM. Because the director had seen the video, they were looking for a foreigner who could survive a Tamil film set. Wow. He liked me in the video, and they just walked in and said, "Do you want to be in a film?" And that was it. There was no casting or tests or anything else. It was like, we found white person who said yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So what was it like in the sets?
It was just another insane experience. I mean, it was a Tamil film set. So aren't people who are fluent in English.
Mm.
A lot of the actors will only speak Tamil. You had no idea what was going on, the calls and the schedules, and I was still working full time at KM at the same time.
Wow.
And they told me initially that it would be 15 days of shoot, but it ended up as about 6 months.
Oh my goodness.
On and off for weeks at a time.
Yeah.
And every day I didn't know the plot of the film. Nobody explained to me what the film was. The writer had kind of filled me in on what my role was, but like day to day I had no idea what scene it was, what was happening around. My Tamil was not good enough to be able to follow that well.
Right.
So it was difficult. Thankfully, my character in the film was supposed to be a little bit lost anyway, so my actual looking lost and confused most of the time worked. I mean, it's a fun comedy rom-com film anyway. Yeah, no, it was. I needed it. I'd become kind of disassociated with music at that point. Because all I'd been doing is KM admin and emails, and I hadn't been performing. So
it was a change.
Yeah, I wanted to find another artistic output, and it really gave me a kick and a reboot back into what I did. Haven't done another.
Amazing. So considering the duration that you have been in India, has your diet changed? What's your breaky? What's your lunch like? What's your dinner? Is that idli, dosa, vada and all, or
everything?
Okay.
Changes at various points. I kind of go through phases. I love South Indian food. I love masala dosa. I love idli sambar. And when I first came here, actually, I had a lot more of that than I do now. Now it's too easy to get anything you want. I mean, Swiggy delivering left, right, and center. So I have a very international diet on that side. But yeah, it hasn't really changed that much. I mean, we eat so much Indian food in the UK anyway. Not that it's good Indian food or often good, but
any memories of eating a dosa or a idli or vada along with sir, or having a chai with him?
Actually, there was last year, A.R.RAHMAN, the director of CalArts from America in Los Angeles, he was coming over for a one-day visit.
Yeah.
And it was another one where I got a phone call the night before because he was coming in, and Sir phoned up and was just kind of like, oh yeah, come over in the morning, we'll start about 6 a.m. which is unusual for him having a 6 a.m. start time. And definitely not good for me. And went over, and I think Sir was a bit anxious about it because he'd invited him over to show him KM and developments and talk about projects and everything, and it was a huge thing. So he wanted backup in terms of information and everything. And the first thing we did was sit down for breakfast before he'd come. And again, it's almost special on the fact that it's not special.
Yeah.
It's literally him just sitting down for breakfast in the house. We had idli sambar, coffee, and it's good food. But he's always been like that, even with the students. It's like when he used to come to KM in the old building, he would come once a year and have biryani with the students, and it was just like a case of they would bring in, and it would be a big lunch all together.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Superb. Nice. So, Adam, you know that as part of this podcast journey, I'm building this I Love ARR community, which is to basically bring all of the Sirs fans together, just unite them with music, just to spread love and happiness. That's all. And again, as as the community is evolving, there are a number of people from various parts of the world who are connecting with me, with the good word being spread about this community as well as this podcast, because I think it's because it's being done with a good intent, and hence why it's touching some hearts. So some of the questions that I've got from some of the aspiring musicians is they are really keen to give up their full-time jobs and take up or pursue music full-time. And one of the things that they are contemplating on is traveling to India, getting into KM, believing in themselves, and then taking their journey from there. So I was just wondering if there's any advice or suggestions that you can provide to enable them to take a decision like this, and how KM can help them pursue their dreams.
Small question there, isn't it? It's a question that we get asked a lot, and it almost becomes too much pressure of a question, because it is people's lives and it's people's livelihoods, and it's so I always have to take a very pragmatic approach on answering this. Music as a career option is fantastic, because generally you end up doing something which you do love, but it isn't for everyone. And it doesn't have to be full-time professional music for music to be part of your life in a very substantial way. So anybody who was considering, as you're saying, like leaving their job and coming to us, and I've had a number of students over the years who have done that, I would suggest that they actually try first in a less dramatic manner. We have short-term courses, we have right down to 3-week courses, or part-time courses, just to get that initial feel for what it actually is. Because very often somebody will enjoy singing and they'll want to sing more, but you put them in something that is as high pressure and intense as doing it all day, every day, they lose their love for it. And it becomes a chore.
True.
So it's very important that those decisions are made with an understanding of what's involved. And very few people actually understand how much is involved in music training to be able to achieve that level that's required to have a professional career. So definitely, first thing on that side, tell them to get in touch with our admissions, and essentially open that dialogue. Email me. I will quite happily discuss through that, and it's a case of finding out. And it can be, I mean, there's been we've had students who were 29, 30, 31 and starting their musical journey at that or older, who left their jobs and are now working as musicians.
Wow.
The other thing to watch out for is that people have this very skewed idea of what the job of a musician is in terms of income. They think about AR and the ones who are megastars, and they also think about the ones who are struggling, penniless, poor, no job. But they forget or don't realize that there is this whole spread in the middle of normal working musicians, that it's not necessarily this this glamorous profession per se, but it is possible to be a full-time job, support your family, working musician, but it doesn't necessarily have the same feel as how it looks it does. So it's a difficult one because it's tied in so much with hopes and aspirations. And sometimes like that, it's actually better for them to find a way of making music a bigger part of their lives without dedicating themselves to it fully.
Right.
At least not in the first instance.
I understand. Right.
It's a risk. So
it would be worthwhile for these guys to try it out with a short term or a program like maybe a summer program or something like that.
Yeah. Or literally just get in touch. I mean, it's speaking for everybody. It's individual for everyone. It really is, particularly at that stage. But yeah, the starting it out in something. If there hasn't been full formal musical training before, if they've not been something that's been full structured education, it's a huge leap to suddenly just be like, I'm leaving my life, I'm going to go and do this, and it puts so much pressure on them, and it puts pressure on the institute because they're under it, so you really want them to succeed as well. And it creates a stress where it's not necessarily needed.
Right. And I also wanted to lightly touch on the current situation that we are in with COVID-19 and stuff like that. Well, the old norm used to be where we were physically present in a classroom with professors like yourself and getting our lessons delivered. But now things have changed. The new norms are you don't have to be in the class physically. You can be where you are, wherever you are. So how is that going to work in a KM perspective? Because one thing is for sure that a number of guys who have gotten in touch with me are in various parts of the world, especially 2 from the US and 1 from Australia and stuff like that. So do they have to give up everything and fly to India to be in KM, or can they do it wherever they are?
Again, we have different courses that require different approaches. Before the pandemic started, KM had no online provision. And that wasn't necessarily because we couldn't have. It's quite a resource intensive thing to have online classes. But online teaching of music has been common for a very long time now. So it's not entirely unusual that classes are being conducted online. Our full-time courses, so our degree level, the foundation and the diploma program, which is the intensive full study, everything included courses, they're due to start in August.
Right.
That our normal start points would be the first week of August. I am not prepared yet to actually have them as fully online courses.
Right.
I don't think that with the resources we have, with the faculty we have, and with what we want to achieve, we would be able to successfully teach those entirely in an online environment.
Right.
And again, because as we were discussing with Nakul, it's the environment which is a large part of. And yes, things have changed. Yes, we'll need to adapt. But what I'm doing is I'm starting the year online, but the actual course itself won't begin until the building is open again.
Right. Okay, I understand.
Everything up until that point we're doing is extra. So we're doing a kind of large warm-up to the year.
Got it. Right.
And when we do open again, we're keeping a blended model between... We don't need to have 100 students sat there listening to a theory lecture or a history lecture. That we can do online. But when it comes down to working one-on-one, the teacher, even if you're having to be distanced in the room, the physical presence makes a huge difference. And it's a very important relationship that needs to build up between student and teacher. So we will take the parts that need to be done on campus and do them on campus. The other parts we will move on. And actually, I'm looking forward to seeing how it changes the student experience.
Yeah.
Because all of our large lectures we normally do at 10 a.m. in the morning. And none of them turn up to it because it's too early for them because they've been up till 5 a.m.
Yeah.
So this way actually is going to allow them to be able to access those lectures which they otherwise miss when they want to do it at 9-10 p.m. at night.
Right, right, right. Yeah, I agree. I think the approach sounds very logical because we're all living in an uncertain uh, world, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be light at the end of the tunnel, no doubt about it. But I think this is a good way to approach it. That's how I see it.
It basically means that we will lose the points in time. At the moment, we will lose the points in time when we have the full year groups together.
Correct.
But working with the groups in smaller numbers, it helps to keep isolation.
Agree.
And at least now it allows them to have somewhat of that campus environment and experience.
Yeah.
KM as a building is beautiful, and it's part of the experience is being in that space.
Yeah.
The building itself, it's like the area it's in is not very nice, and it's like you wind through these roads and suddenly open up into this small oasis of kind of garden, and it's that experience should be felt.
I agree because I was there in KM in August 2019, and I think that was for the Chennai concert. And so Sir was up there on the terrace for the rehearsals, and he had invited me to come and meet him there during the rehearsals.
I love how you were in the building at the same time as me.
Yeah, it's amazing. I really like the vibe. I absolutely love the vibe. And I did see the chocolate shop outside as well, but I didn't get a chance to go there. But yeah,
that August concert was hilarious. I was there, but I was backstage for it because we had the Sunshine Brass, and it was my most tummel boss entrance to a concert ever because I didn't have an access pass.
Oh no!
I didn't have my ticket with me. I had my backstage pass, but I didn't have the one to get through the initial ones.
Oh no!
They're obviously super, super tight on security. And what I ended up doing was I called my normal auto driver, jumped in the back of the auto, and he was the first driver who actually took me to the visa office when I first arrived 2010, 11, I've been using him for years. And I was just like sprawled in the back of this auto, shades on, hair and everything. And I was like, just keep driving. Do not stop. Do not slow down. And all of the security guards and police and everything. And thankfully, just as we turned into the drive, a police car jumped in front and was going through. So you have a police car with a random foreigner in the back of an auto shade. We did not get stopped by anyone right through all the security gates right up to the main stage entrance.
That is so hilarious. Amazing. Great. Adam, I mean, you know what? From what I've heard for the last an hour and 10 minutes, I only wish, I had the liberty to just give up everything and then just jump into KM and then just pursue music. I wish I could do that, but as Sir always says, it's never too late. So maybe the online option is an option. I might pick up something. So I'm sure, like myself, there are many others who are going to be watching this podcast or listening to it, might take it as an inspiration to, take up something in KM.
No, I mean the online classes, and we're still building. I mean, we've started them, and it's become really popular. And even when the building opens, we're going to continue them. So we're adding new courses constantly, new course formats. So you can come and get you on. Of course. We'll get you set up. You can do production classes. Nakul will teach you.
So Adam, before we wrap up the podcast, there's a lot of guys who are going to be watching this again from Australia and every part of the world. What's that one piece of confidence that you want to give them if they have to pursue music at KM?
Start. I mean, it's the biggest thing is to just start.
Yeah.
We will take care of everything after that.
Amazing.
In terms of the encouragement and the support, the teaching faculty, my colleagues are the most supportive and emotional and wonderful collective of staff. They care so deeply about what they're doing here. So they've given up whatever lives they had and come and moved here, and some stay for 1 year, 2 years, some stay for 10 years. But when they're here, they're so invested in what they're doing. The quality of the courses is, we know that the courses are not necessarily cheap.
Yeah.
But we put in as much worth as we can to them.
For sure.
The environment and the opportunities that come with that, it's very unique. I mean, our curriculum have been studied because of its uniqueness and what we're doing.
Yeah, amazing.
And it's literally that thing of take the first step.
Yeah. That's a nice piece of advice. I like it. Take the first step. Right. Adam, it's been absolutely amazing to have you on the podcast. And one of the main reasons I was very keen to have you was the fact that this podcast could inspire someone to pursue music. And if they've always been thinking about taking up something in form of course at KM, this will give them that confidence.
One inspirational story, if I can, just for all of those people. And I love using this story. It was 3 or 4 years ago. We had a 69-year-old woman come to join us.
Wow.
And she came in, and it was a first for us, and admissions didn't know what to do, so she landed up in my office, because that's where anything that they don't know what to do lands up. And she was like, I want to study. And I was like, great, let's get you started. And she'd spent her life looking after her husband, looking after her sons, but her husband had recently passed away. And her sons had obviously grown up and had left home, so didn't need her anymore. And she was like, I want to do something for myself. And I've always wanted to do this. I've wanted to learn music. I know I'm not going to necessarily become a huge professional famous musician. And she started, and she was with us studying for at least 2, if not 3 years. And she learned piano, she was learning voice, she did some work in production. It's like, and there is never a too late point to start. You have to be realistic and pragmatic with what you can do with that. But it's something that, if you're at a point where it's like you want to make a change in your life, you're wanting to seek another direction, start and find out. But don't jump. Find out about it. Take time to get to know whether it's the right step.
Very true. Amazing. It's a great story. I love it. Very inspiring. Right, Adam. I feel extremely blessed to have been having this conversation with the likes of yourself and Nakul. And yeah, I mean, you guys pulled out your precious time on a Sunday afternoon to have a chat with me. It's amazing. I just feel blessed. That's all I can say. I would like to thank you from the bottom of my heart for making this happen, because I was very keen to have this podcast with yourself for the fact that it will inspire someone to take up music, and because this journey of my podcast itself has connected me with so many talented, aspiring musicians, and I always feel that if something can help them to take that first step, as you just mentioned, why not this podcast? And hence why, I was selfishly wanting this podcast to happen. And yeah, thank you so much for supporting me this.
Thank you so much. And you're doing an amazing job in terms of spreading the good word as well. It's the message and meaning is so heartfelt.
Thank you so much, Adam.